I am popping on here to just talk a little bit about what happened with my stepdad. I know probably many of you saw that that my stepdad went missing a few weeks ago. His name is Bob, and he was 79 years old. I reached out on all of my social media platforms to try to find him and spread the word about him. And I just felt like I needed to make something to kind of seal that chapter and just address it. And honestly, I know probably some of you are thinking, you don't owe anyone an explanation, or even like, how dare you make a video out of this? Or maybe not how dare you, but just why would you make a video about this? I don't know. I just feel called to do it. So I'm gonna do it. I don't know. Hopefully it's helpful for someone. Maybe it won't be, but whatever. If nothing else, it's just me doing what I do when something happens and I don't really know what to make of it. In other areas of my life, I've done the same thing where I turn to a creative outlet when I'm processing something. And you know what? If this is part of my processing process, then so be it. Essentially what happened was Bob went missing. Like I said, he's 79 years old. He lived in Western Mass on his own. He suffered from what I believe was dementia. He also had a history of seizures, and he'd had a stroke. So basically my family knew that he wasn't at his full mental capacity. We struggle a lot kind of with what to do with him. And I think another reason I want to make this video is because I know there are so many people who are going through something like this, either right now or they're afraid of when they'll have to, when you have an elderly parent. He was my stepdad, but he really was a father figure to me. There's probably no way I'm going to get through this video without some sort of crying, which is fine. Crying is fine. He was always a father figure to me, no way around it. So this whole experience has been losing a parent, and not just losing a parent, but literally losing, like he was missing. He was missing for a little over a week. And I just have to say that as someone who has always really been interested and fascinated with true crime and horror, and I've listened to and read the stories of so many missing people's cases, I guess I never really ever thought something like that would happen to me. The actual experience of him being missing was harder even than knowing when he was gone, because it's just exhausting. It's exhausting to be reaching out and to be hopeful, but at the same time prepare yourself for the worst. It's like your brain hopes for the best, but it is really getting ready to grieve at the same time, and you never know what's enough. Are you spreading the word enough? If a loved one of yours ever goes missing, some things that I found helpful were to really take care of my mental and physical well-being. And hey, do what you need to do. I also, while he was missing, got pretty drunk with a couple of friends, and just like stayed by my friend's side and just wanted to get distracted and wanted to be taken out of it, because during the day, all week, I had just been searching for him and so distracted, and all my energy was just going towards this one place. So do what you gotta do to get through the grief, as long as you know you're not hurting yourself or anyone else. What I was surprised by was that I was suddenly so filled with adrenaline when Bob was missing. I would go on these walks. I had to do something with my energy. I would wake up and I would go for a 2.5-hour walk. And then I would go back and I'd come back and I'd, do more searching and reaching out to people. And then at night I would go for another walk. And I think one time I walked like 10 miles in one day. And it was just about burning that anxious energy and just doing something while I was making phone calls or calling friends and family. But I will say, like, I didn't feel like talking to anyone over the phone. I for the most part, unless I had like a sporadic urge. But for the most part, I just wanted my own space, my own time. And so all of this to say that your body is, and your mind is kind of in survival mode. So if you're grieving, even if it's not over someone missing, if it's just you're grieving someone, grief looks like so many different things. I was really thinking like there should be a poster in all the schools in the world that say like, have a smiley face and says grieving looks like this. Have a sad face, grieving looks like this. Have an angry face, grieving looks like this. Have a laughing face, grieving looks like this. Because grief does not fit into one singular form. You go through it in waves. And I, of course, had some times where I was really crying for like huge spans of time. And then I would go back to just work as usual, you know, gotta figure out the next thing, gotta reach out to the next person. Anyway, all this to say is if you're grieving, you know, don't be so hard on yourself as to what you're supposed to be doing. Are you crying enough? Are you being productive? Like all that stuff goes out the window. And I am so lucky, like BuzzFeed specifically was so supportive and understanding throughout this whole experience. I have been showed so much unbelievable love from both people that know me and people that don't know me. And it's carried me through this whole experience. I don't know what I would have done without all of that support. I mean, I had my oldest friends were calling shelters and hospitals and helping me throughout the day, even though they were supposed to be working. You know, I had other friends sending me meals so I didn't have to cook. A big thank you to everyone who worked on this case, who was looking for him. And then there were the people like so many of you who I've never met face to face, but you reached out and I saw so many people sharing his photo. I was so moved. It really helped. Thank you so much. From me and my family, just thank you. And at this time in the world where if things feel really divided and it can be scary and overwhelming and people feel isolated, I think it was such a gift to experience firsthand how kind people can be. So I also just wanted to make this video to remind you all that there are genuinely great people out there, good people, kind people. They're everywhere, and they're the people you suspect, and they're also the people you do not suspect. Every single person who did something to help or reached out or just said, hey, I'm so sorry for your loss. It's like, that is just true kindness, and it goes a long way. So I guess I'm really, this is just a thank you video, and I want to make it clear that, you know, there is hope, even when things feel hopeless. And although I didn't get the answer I had hoped for, I know that Bob was really struggling. So I also wanted to speak to people who are dealing with an elder parent or grandparent or just family member or loved one. Try not to be so hard on yourself. You know, the way the system is set up, at least in the US, it's really easy for older people to slip through the cracks. And that's what happened with Bob. It is so difficult to respect someone's independence, but also try to protect them. In their old age, it's just a tricky line to navigate. And if you're going through it, I feel for you, and just know, you know, just take it a step at a time and really look at the resources that are available to you. I will list some below. In my case, you know, Bob really didn't want to go to an assisted living place or a retirement home, and I don't blame him in any way, shape, or form. But it was almost like, you know, we were afraid of this, and then the worst did happen. It just felt like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And, you know, ideally you can have a parent, an older parent, live with you or something like that, but that wasn't something that he was interested in doing, so it wasn't an option we were able to explore. But to those of you out there who are in the middle of this, or you're grieving, or you're dealing with an older parent or person, loved one, be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, rely on the kindness of strangers and friends and family, and let yourself lean on people. That's something that's really hard for me. My automatic reaction is to just deal with things myself, you know, go for my walks. If I'm gonna cry, I'd rather do it alone. You would never know that because I feel like I've cried on camera 5,000 times, but preferably I'd like to do it by myself. And it is hard for me to take someone up on the offer to, like, you know, call me whenever. It's okay if it's the middle of the night. You should do it if you need to do it. Sometimes you need to do it. I just needed to be around people at one point, and then other times I needed to be around no one. But I would just say, let the people who care about you help you if you're going through grief or a hard time, because that's why they're there. And you would do the same thing. And it's really important, and it's not a sign of weakness. People are happy to help when they can help in any way. So that would be one huge learning I had from this, and it definitely got me through it. I let my friends help me. I let my family help me. I let you all help me. And it was a big saving grace because I have no regrets moving forward. I reached out. I did as much as I could do to try to find him. We found him, and that is what it is. There's a very good chance I'm going to do something creative with this whole experience. I'm working on a screenplay about it. I don't even know. Some people think that's really morbid. Some people think that's strange. But another thing, cope the way you have to cope. If creative outlets are what helps you process and helps you move through difficult situations, do it. If watching TV and totally getting distracted is what you need, do it. I played Stardew Valley on my Twitch stream for 3 days in a row or something like that for like 6 hours at some point. I just needed to zone out and get totally out of it. And then at other times, I really needed to think about it and write about it. So again, there's no wrong way as long as you're protecting yourself and taking care of yourself. I've decided to take a break from drinking or anything like that for a little bit personally, just because I want to feel at 100% so I can handle the next waves of grieving as we clear out his apartment and deal with, you know, memorials, funeral stuff. I just want to feel top tier. But anyway, my heart goes out to all of you. Thank you so much for all the things you've done to help me, just in general, but especially with this. And hopefully this can give us all a little bit of closure from this pretty intense experience. But, you know, go a little bit out of your way to be extra kind to people. You know, it makes a difference. I love you guys. And I'm going to get back to my regular schedule as programmed, doing all the other things I do on this channel. I just wanted to stop by and have a little chat. So have a beautiful day, you guys. Ciao for now.